I think Annie and I need a podcast.
That's my favorite thing ever.
Same. Hey guys, it's Marianne, and I am joined in the studio today by one of my true DIY and craft icons, the Annie Sloan from Annie Sloan Chalk Paint.
Hello, I'm so pleased to be here. Thank you so much for asking me.
So I thought today you would just give us a little Chalk Paint 101.
Delighted.
What is chalk paint?
One thing it isn't is chalkboard paint. So lots of people think, oh, it's for writing on boards. No, nothing to do with that at all.
That is the number one question we get.
It is paint which I've called chalk paint because when you paint it, you feel it, touch it, and it feels chalky. And it's very absorbent, like chalk would be. My first idea was to paint on old furniture.
Well, and speaking of, we have a piece of old furniture right here that is half painted in chalk paint.
So I'd have something like this. It's really well made. A lot of modern furniture isn't so well made. And I can paint directly on here. I don't have to strip it. I don't have to prime it. That was the idea of my paint.
This paint sticks to everything.
Yeah. And after that, I developed all sorts of ideas. So not only would it go on to anything, but it would also be used in many different ways. Not a one-trick pony.
No, certainly not.
No.
So let's set this aside because I want to talk a little bit about mixing the paint.
Oh, great.
I think this is so interesting because they're so highly pigmented.
Yeah.
That also means that a little goes a long way.
So there's my blue. So you have that blue. That's a very strong blue. But if you add white to it, it makes it a lot softer.
Yes. But there's so many techniques. So I'm kind of ready to dig into some actual paint. We've got some rather basic kitchen cabinet faces here, which I think is so perfect because if you have ever painted a kitchen cabinet, you know how involved it is, all of the sanding and all of the priming. It's so tedious, so I think this is the perfect thing.
Yeah, so you just get on with it basically.
Yes, fantastic. Let's get started.
Yeah. So the colour I'm choosing is old white. Now what I would do is the first coat I would just put on. Now you notice that I'm not doing this every, very up and down and straight. I'm just going to get it coated so that it goes on everywhere, make certain I go every which way.
But that was just one dip in the paint. And
that was one dip of paint. Goes exactly. Goes a very long way. We need to wait for this to dry a little.
Okay, so our first coat is dried, and true to your word, it only took about 5 or 10 minutes.
Yep. Now the second coat is going on. That looks beautiful. I think that's really, really nice. You've done that well.
All right, so this might take a little longer to dry because it's a little thicker.
Yeah.
Well, through the magic of television, we have one that's already dried, so I'm going to go grab that.
So the first thing you do is take out clear wax.
Clear wax.
A bit like a shaving brush. Do that. Get the wax all over that. And then it's all over.
What purpose does the wax serve?
Because you don't have to prime or sand, you do need something to seal it in. So that's the first coat on.
Yeah. Oh, what are these?
Well, these are my sanding pads. Sponge.
Yeah.
And sanding.
So they're different: fine, medium, coarse. Okay.
Yeah. Just define the edges, or where there's a little bit more thicker, you might want to do something like that.
So you can take off some of the texture if you want. You can give it, this really makes it look old and worn. So you also have a dark wax.
I do.
That I think is really interesting.
That is gorgeous. And I'm just going to put a little bit of brown wax. So now I'm going to take that off while it's all still wet, as it were.
Yes.
So I've done that, and you might go, well, that's it, I'm finished. No, I'm going to put a little bit of clear wax on there.
On top of that.
Yeah, and then wipe that off. So do you see the difference between that and that?
So now it's lightened back up again.
Yeah.
And we've got all that texture and grain and everything.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's so beautiful. It's like a living, breathing project. So obviously this is very vintage. It would be right at home in like a farmhouse kitchen.
Exactly.
I think this is kind of what people expect from chalk paint.
Yes.
So what if you want to do something more modern?
Yes, please.
Yes.
So many things to do.
All right, Annie, hit me with how to make chalk paint modern.
So dip your brush in, start painting, but spreading it out so you don't have ridges.
So this is really the opposite of the texture we did.
Yes, absolutely. You're very
before.
smooth. Okay,
So,
done.
We're done. Okay, so we're going to let these dry, but we have one that's already painted, so let's grab that.
Okay.
It's already quite a bit smoother than the white one was.
It is. Now this is a reversal.
So this is
Note
complete
well.
opposite.
Yeah.
So we're going to sand first.
We're going to sand first.
All right, sure.
It's very, very gentle. So now, oh my goodness, feel that.
Oh gosh, it's like velvet.
It is. Because it's going to be our modern look, we could do lacquer. What I'm going to do, so you can see the two differences.
Okay.
One is we're going to do this in the lacquer, and the other half I'd like to do in the wax.
Oh great.
There we are.
Oh, so there's that dark, the
So
richness
the dark comes
coming back.
Yeah. Same
Just-
thing, exactly
just
the same.
work it in there?
Yeah.
And so it still brings out all the richness.
Feel that.
And all the warmth. It's so smooth. It's like silky. There's our modern look, but I think you have one more technique to show us. So tell me what we're doing with the stool.
We're going to start with the yellow, and then when that's dry, I'm going to put a coat of Paris grey on, and then I'm going to distress it. And when you see this distressing, you'll see a little bit of the yellow come through, and start painting.
And we're just...
That's it. Down the side here, some metal bits. I would go right over. That's
Just
fine.
go
The
right
paint
over
goes
it.
over everything. Looks like it's finished.
Yeah, okay, let's get this off the table
Yeah.
and let it dry, and then we'll put on the next
Okay,
coat.
brilliant. So this is Paris grey. It's always going to go beautifully with yellows. Anything which is blue.
And that's just classic color theory.
That's it, done.
What's our next step?
Wax.
So I assume this is just like...
Just the same as before, we're just going to wax all over, very simple. So that's it.
Okay, last step.
Last step, exciting step. This
I know.
is a good one.
Because this is one where we get to see the yellow,
Yeah,
right?
I'm going to go around the edges. Gentle. Look at that.
There it is.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Oh, that's so cool.
That is so, so lovely. So now it looks like a little soup with edgings.
Yes.
Very, very
Oh, yes, it's like the piping.
Piping, that's it. That looks really lovely.
All right, I think it's moment of truth time. And there we have it. You could keep going, you could keep distressing. I mean, that's the awesome thing about chalk paint. And I have learned so much today. Annie, thank you so much for coming and giving us...
Absolute pleasure. It's been a delight.
We want to hear from you guys. Have you ever experimented with chalk paint? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and we will see you next time. I just want to keep going.
Yeah, go on.
Right? Let's just keep going.